One of the most famous unsolved murders in American history may have a surprising new lead. Nearly 80 years after the crime, investigators and researchers are still asking the same question. Was the real crime scene somewhere completely different? It is a story that has haunted the collective imagination for nearly a century, a dark thread woven into the very fabric of American crime history. The tale of the Black Dahlia is one of profound brutality, of a life cut tragically short, and of a mystery that has stubbornly resisted resolution. For decades, the questions have echoed through time, passed down through generations of investigators, writers, amateur sleuths. Who was responsible for such a horrific act? And where, precisely, did it take place? Even now, in 2026, with all the advancements of modern science at our disposal, the case remains as perplexing as it was in the winter of 1947. One of the most famous unsolved murders in American history may have a surprising new lead. Was the real crime scene somewhere else entirely? This central question challenges the long-held narrative of the crime, suggesting that what we thought we knew might only be a fraction of the truth. The possibility that the crime unfolded within the anonymous walls of a motel room introduces new variables, potential avenues for discovery. It forces us to reconsider the evidence, look at old files with new eyes. Imagine a sequence of events far different from the one that has dominated public consciousness for so long. The search for answers is not merely an academic exercise. It is a quest to bring clarity to a story shrouded in darkness. The persistence of this case is, in itself, remarkable. While countless other crimes have faded from memory, the Black Dahlia murder continues to captivate and horrify. Perhaps it is the stark contrast between the victim's youthful aspirations and the almost unimaginable violence of her end. Or perhaps it is the setting. Post-war Los Angeles, a city of dazzling glamour and deep-seated corruption, where dreams were manufactured and just as easily shattered. This enduring fascination ensures the search for truth will not be abandoned. It fuels researchers who sift through dusty archives and pore over faded photographs, hoping to find the one clue that might finally unlock the secrets of that fateful January. As we embark on this examination, we must proceed with measured caution and intellectual rigor. Our journey will require us to separate established fact from speculative theory, understand the context of the time, appreciate the limitations of the original investigation. We will revisit the known details of Elizabeth Short's life, the chilling discovery of her body, and the massive, yet ultimately fruitless, police effort that followed. Only by grounding ourselves in this reality can we properly evaluate the newer claims that have emerged and assess whether they represent a genuine breakthrough or simply another compelling yet unproven chapter in this enduring saga. To understand the Black Dahlia case, one must first understand the city in which it occurred. Los Angeles in 1947 was a place of profound contradictions. A sprawling metropolis caught between post-war euphoria and growing anxieties. The population was booming. Soldiers returned from overseas. Countless others flocked westward, drawn by sunshine, drawn by opportunity, drawn by the magnetic pull of Hollywood. The movie studios were at the peak of their power. They were dream factories projecting glamour and sophistication. It was a city that sold hope, a place where an ordinary person could reinvent themselves, where many believed they could achieve stardom. This was the radiant facade of Los Angeles. Beneath this shimmering surface, a different city existed. Explosive growth strained the city's infrastructure. Vast, anonymous neighborhoods sprang up where people could get lost. Corruption was a known, if often unspoken, part of civic life. Tendrils of influence reached into politics and the police. Organized crime vied for control of gambling, narcotics, prostitution rackets. For every success story, there were thousands of untold tales of struggle and desperation. It was a city of transients. People came and went, making it easy for individuals to fall through the cracks. This underbelly was as real as the glamorous side, a world of shadows. The social fabric also mattered, strict conventions, especially for women. Yet the war brought newfound independence for many. Young women like Elizabeth Short were navigating this new landscape. They were drawn to city excitement, but often in precarious situations, with limited money and few support networks. Before she became a symbol, she was a person. Elizabeth Short was born on July 29, 1924, in the Hyde Park neighborhood of Boston, Massachusetts. Her early life was marked by the economic hardships of the Great Depression and the personal challenge of severe respiratory issues, including asthma. Seeking a milder climate for her health, her family moved. She spent part of her youth in Medford, Massachusetts, and later in Florida. These frequent relocations meant that her life was often transient. Public records, letters to friends, and family accounts paint a picture of her. She was restless, possessed of a striking beauty, and harbored dreams of a life far removed from her modest beginnings. She was known for her dark, bouffant hair and a fondness for black clothing, which would later, posthumously, contribute to her infamous nickname. In 1942, at the age of 18, Elizabeth moved to Vallejo, California, to live with her father, who had left the family years earlier. The reunion was short-lived, and she soon found herself adrift, moving between various cities in California and other states. She took on odd jobs as a waitress or a cashier. She gravitated toward Hollywood, captivated by the allure of the film industry. While rumors and sensationalized accounts would later claim she was a burgeoning actress or a call girl, there is no credible evidence to support these assertions. Instead, the documented reality is more mundane and poignant. She was one of thousands on the periphery of the dream, living in shared apartments and rooming houses, navigating financial instability while holding on to the hope of something better. Her personal life was complex and filled with a series of relationships. During the war, she met and fell in love with a decorated Army Air Force officer, Major Matthew Michael Gordon, Jr. He was deployed overseas, and they corresponded with plans to marry upon his return. Tragically, he was killed in a plane crash in India in August 1945, just days before the end of the war. This loss was a profound blow to Elizabeth, a devastation friends said she never fully recovered from. Her subsequent relationships were often short-lived, and she seemed to be perpetually searching for stability and belonging. In the final months of her life, she stayed with friends around Los Angeles. The last confirmed sighting was the evening of January 9, 1947, dropped at the Biltmore Hotel. The morning of January 15, 1947, dawned cool and clear in the Leimert Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. It was a developing suburban area, characterized by modest homes and undeveloped plots of land awaiting construction. A local resident named Betty Bersinger was walking with her 3-year-old daughter along the sidewalk on South Norton Avenue when she noticed something white in the overgrown grass of a vacant lot. At first, she thought it was a discarded mannequin from a department store, broken in half. As she drew closer, the horrifying reality of what she was seeing began to sink in. It was not a mannequin. It was the body of a woman, posed in a grotesque and deliberate manner. She rushed to call the police. The scene that greeted the first responding officers was one of unprecedented brutality. The victim, later identified as Elizabeth Short, was lying on her back in the damp grass. Her body had been surgically severed at the waist, a clean, precise bisection suggesting skill. Her face was slashed from the corners of her mouth to her ears, a Glasgow smile. The body was drained of blood and immaculately clean. No mess or struggle as expected. This clinical cleanliness perplexed investigators. Most importantly, the vacant lot was not the primary crime scene. The lack of blood indicated she had been killed and mutilated elsewhere, then transported and deliberately posed. The killer likely had a private, secure location where they could commit the acts and clean the body. The coroner noted ligature marks on wrists and ankles, excisions, and other post-mortem mutilation. Cause of death: hemorrhage and shock from head concussions and facial lacerations. The precision led to speculation about medical training. Police faced an organized, methodical, chillingly bold unknown. In the wake of the horrific discovery on Norton Avenue, the LAPD launched one of the largest manhunts in city history. The scale was immense. Hundreds of officers, LAPD, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, even the FBI, were drawn in. Lead investigators, Captain Jack Donahoe and Sergeant Harry Hansen, were immediately overwhelmed. tips and leads poured in from a shocked public. Fingerprint analysis confirmed the victim was Elizabeth Short. Detectives began reconstructing her last weeks. They interviewed hundreds: family members, former roommates, waitresses, hotel clerks, men she had dated. Leads stretched across states. Records show thousands interviewed, with over 150 serious suspects. On January 23, the Los Angeles Examiner got a call promising proof. A package arrived the next day. Elizabeth's birth certificate, social security card, photographs, and an address book marked Mark Hansen. The items had been cleaned with gasoline to remove fingerprints. Proof the sender knew details, but few tangible leads. With the primary crime scene unknown, crucial forensics were missing. No fingerprints, no weapon, no witnesses. Over 60 people confessed across the years, mostly men. Each confession had to be vetted, draining resources. All proved false. From the start, the investigation fought the void where the real crime scene should have been. The Black Dahlia case was not just a police investigation. It was a media phenomenon, driven by ruthlessly competitive newspapers. A sensational murder was a guaranteed seller. The Elizabeth Short case was the most sensational of them all. Reporters blurred lines between facts and story. They helped craft the victim's public persona. Journalist Bevo Means of the Herald Express coined the moniker the Black Dahlia. Coverage was relentless, impersonating family for info, hounding witnesses, and publishing details police hoped to withhold, including the gasoline-wiped items. The nickname elevated the case into myth, likely playing on the film The Blue Dahlia and Her Black Clothing, turning Elizabeth into a noir character, part femme fatale, part innocent victim. Intense scrutiny created a feedback loop. Endless tips, more false confessions, public pressure, and editorial criticism that hindered detectives. While the media kept the story alive, sensationalism complicated the search for truth. A lesson in the costs of publicity. Why does the case remain unsolved? There is no single answer, only a confluence of failures. The killer removed the victim, transported her, and cleaned the body, destroying most physical evidence. Without the primary scene, there were no usable fingerprints, blood patterns, fibers, or trace. Forensic science in 1947 was limited. DNA was unimaginable. Blood typing and prints had severe constraints. The killer avoided prints. Blood draining blunted serology. Eyewitnesses and shoe leather couldn't bridge the gaps. Media frenzy and false confessions consumed resources. Time eroded witnesses and evidence. Files went missing. The LAPD keeps the file open, but without a diary, a verifiable deathbed confession, or new evidence, a prosecutable solution is unlikely. Over decades, countless theories emerged from authors, journalists, and independent researchers. Recently, a more specific hypothesis gained traction, focusing not on who, but where. This is the motel theory. Proponents argue the mutilation did not occur in a private residence or secluded warehouse, but within a Los Angeles area motel. A motel offers privacy to hold a captive, facilities to inflict injuries, perform bisection and draining, and thoroughly clean a body, more feasible than a car or derelict building. A killer could check in under a false name, commit the crime over hours or days, then leave a sanitized room that wouldn't raise suspicion until long after departure. Motel parking by the room eases transport to a trunk under cover of night, then to Limert Park. The transient flow of guests provides anonymity absent in residential neighborhoods. The motel theory remains plausible but unconfirmed. It is not an official finding of any law enforcement agency. Modern researchers, including some former officers, re-examined case files, piecing together circumstantial evidence. Witness mentions of cars near certain motels and alibi inconsistencies. By focusing on specific period motels and digging through property records, registries, and microfilm, they hope for new connections or long-forgotten records. Any credible lead could breathe new life into this very cold case. The evidence supporting the motel theory is largely circumstantial, a mosaic from a sprawling, chaotic file. Researchers cross-reference old maps, motel registries, and 1947 witness statements. emphasizing distance from the Biltmore and proximity to the dump site. They reevaluate people in Elizabeth's orbit. The address book listed numerous men. Investigators looked at many. Modern researchers probe habits, associates, and the missing week. The theory suggests possible links between specific suspects and specific motels, connections that might have been lost amid information overload. Nearly 80 years have passed. Motel registries are mostly gone. Small, family-run lodgings seldom kept permanent records, even if a registry survives. Linking a name to a suspect, and the suspect to the crime, requires a chain of evidence that may not exist. Caution is crucial. Confirmation bias tempts us to see patterns and give undue weight to ambiguity, especially in a case that invites speculation. The motel theory is logical and compelling, but remains a theory until substantiated by new, concrete, corroborating evidence. Ultimately, the enduring power of the Black Dahlia case lies in its profound and unsettling ambiguity, a story with a beginning and a middle, but no end. It has become modern American folklore, speaking to anxieties about violence, justice, and the dark side of human nature. Hollywood aspirations, shocking brutality, noir Los Angeles, and the complete failure to find the killer have forged a legend. The case reveals the limits of mid-century police work and contrasts 1940s sensational media with today's ethics, a cautionary tale. Elizabeth Short's story, filtered through the era's social mores, reflects women's precarious position, newly free yet harshly judged. The ongoing quest, theories like the motel hypothesis and re-examining old evidence, testifies to our collective desire for closure. Modern technology could identify the killer from preserved evidence, or a long-lost document could provide the missing link. Hope that keeps the case alive. As we look back, the question remains: will the motel theory or another modern inquiry provide the answer? Or is the Black Dahlia case destined to remain an eternal enigma? Perhaps the fascination is no longer about naming a killer, but about the questions the case asks of our society, our fears, and our search for meaning. After nearly 8 decades, the Black Dahlia case remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Whether the newest claims reveal the truth or become another chapter in the legend, one question still remains: what really happened?